raise the flags. Hit them fast, secure the bag. Don't even blink, make them walk the plank. Light them up, let's make them sing. Fire the cannons, fire the cannons, fire the cannons. On Bucs, yeah, we on. Fire the cannons, fire the cannons, fire the cannons. The whole field's our red. Let me give you 55 reasons why this is our season. Palm trees breezing, opposing teams bleeding.
All right, welcome back to the most unprofessional show on Bucs Report, Buc What You Heard. My name is Gene. You can reach me at Buc What You Heard. Remember, you follow me, you know on Twitter, I'm going to follow you back. Anyway, besides that, I'm joined by my co-host, my man, the guru, the guy that knows it all, the guy with all the answers, KB, not to be mistaken for Shaq Barrett, but Kim Barrett. How you doing, my friend?
Oh, it's great to be back. It's been a couple weeks, and we've had a couple weeks where we haven't been on since the Bucs have won a game, Gene.
You know what? That we may be the problem here.
I think we just need to get back on it.
You know what? And I brought the lucky beer mug here. Of course, you already know. We haven't seen this for a while, so always remember, folks, be sure to tip your bartender and your waitress. Make sure to take care of them. They're taking care of you out there, so please do that for me. But let's get down to business. Let's get down to brass tacks here. The Bucs lost to the Saints. The Bucs have lost to the Washington football team and Riverboat Ron up in Washington. And people are jumping out the window. I want you guys to keep in mind the Bucs are the defending world champions. I'm going to say I'm going to have to keep reminding people of this. Bucs are the defending world champions. I don't care what you say. You can say whatever you want to about them, whatever about this game. The Bucs are still the defending world champions. They got that target on their back, and that's just what it is. But I'm going to start with you, KB. I want to get some of your thoughts on this, and then I will follow up with you. We had a cool conversation off camera, but we definitely want to talk about this. Johnny Dean, Nestor Cervantes, Carrie. Hey, Carrie, what's going on? How you doing? But KB, I want to get your thoughts on this, man. Real talk. What's going on?
Yeah, we went from, penalties, dumb mistakes, to just playing out, just not doing the small things, Gene. I know you're going to get to that big word that starts with an F. I'm going to let you go on that soapbox, but I mean, Nestor's putting that in the chat, the last drive. I mean, you can't give up a 10.5-minute drive to basically close out the game. And there were so many missed tackles. I know Bruce Arians, was going off on, wish everyone was playing like Devin White. There's a way to play, fast. It's another thing to play, well. And I'm not saying Devin White played a bad game. In fact, I think he played his best game of the season. But trickled in there, he almost ran past one of his sacks. You can sack a player, but then when you give up a 15-yard completion on third down to give up the first down, to me, you negated the positive that you just did. It was nice to see Levante get a fumble, forced fumble in there. That was nice to see. He's been okay this year. He just hasn't had his splash. But offense, it's been up, it's been down. To me, it comes down to the identity. Offense, they want to be a smash mouth run team, but they also want to be a down the field passing team. And then, just to be honest, Ali Marpet got worked.
Yeah,
Jonathan Allen took his lunch money, and you know what?
But how often do we say it? Literally, how often have we been able to say that about Ali Marpet since he's been drafted?
And you know what, Gene? I'm not worried. And you know what? It's one game, and you've seen the best offensive lineman of all time say, I struggled against this guy.
Yeah.
And to be honest, I don't think we're going to be seeing the Washington football team again. And you know what? They come with that mentality. I mean, Ron Rivera, Riverboat Ron, was coached as a player by Mike Ditka. Mike Ditka in the 80s when football was a different game.
The Bears.
You don't think he's going to bring a physicality to any game that his team ever plays to? And you know what? They built through the trenches. Yes, Chase Young got hurt. They still have a lot of talent on the defensive line, especially the interior, which is Brady's, weakness per se.
Achilles, yeah.
And you know what? Brady checked down probably a lot more than we would like, but I think we're learning that this team is, to me, it's missing that identity. The defense wants to blitz. but they can't blitz because the defensive backfield isn't good enough right now to hold up. So you can't do the things you want to do well on either sides of the ball. People will come back. Coaches will hopefully get better. And if I see one more thing on how BA needs to just get in the room and call plays, that is not just the solution. BA is not sitting there in his office smoking a cigar, drinking whiskey on a Wednesday afternoon. Okay? If you work for a good company with good leadership, you have people who let you do your job. And you know what? He can give direction. And you know what? Todd Bowles didn't succeed as a head coach. Byron Leftwich is very young in his career. He's got 40 staff members that he trusts. It's going to get better. We saw it get better last year. It's 2 games. We lost 3 or 4 in a row last year. No one, like everyone was freaking out then. It's only 2 games. I'm going to be there Monday night. I'm going to bring some good juju. And we're going to walk out with the dub. And I'm not afraid to say that, Gene, because I think at this point we can predict games now. And I'm going to say this right now. It's not going to be no 10, 11-point game. It's going to be a hard-fought game against the New York Football Giants at home. We're going to score 30, but you know what? They're going to score like 20-something, but we're going to win.
There you
Just
go.
throwing that one out there.
I love it.
Fundamentals, get them, Gene.
I'm going to actually, thank you for that segue. I appreciate that. Fundamentals. Funda-fucking-mentals. We're not seeing them. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers should have won this game. From the first quarter to the fourth quarter, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers should have dominated this game. They were getting pressure. They were getting to the quarterback. They were getting in there, and they could have made stops. But I want you guys to go back. If you don't believe me, go back and watch the film yourself. When you're tackling high, if you're tackling somebody high and you're bouncing off of them, there's a reason for that, because you're not fundamentally wrapping up and bringing that player down. I can't tell you how many plays I watched in the first and second quarter, where the Tampa Bay Buccaneers could have gotten a stop. They could have gotten a 3 and out. They didn't get the 3 and out. They're looking for the big hit and then, I think Washington realized that Tampa is not stopping their running game. So they continued to run the way they did. Even Heineken got into it too. And, he's like, hey, let me pop a bottle, have me a Heineken, and I'll run for 5 or 10 yards. He was getting involved too. Take care of your positions. And this is what made Tampa so good on the back end of the season, going into the playoffs, going into the championship, going into the Super Bowl. Everybody was taking care of their assignments. Everybody was wrapping up. They were fundamentally wrapping up, taking care, tackling, and just everything was going like it should. Okay. And what we've seen this year, we've seen people hitting high. I mean, Bruce Arians, I don't know what film Bruce Arians is watching. And I'm going to say this, Devin White tackling high. You're either going to get a personal foul, or you're going to miss the tackle. 9 times out of 10, that's what's going to happen. And we saw a couple of times where Devin White tackling high could have easily been a personal foul. That could have easily been 15. Had you had the right NFL officiating crew in place, that could have easily been 15. Why not wrap up, tackle, get them on the ground, stop them right there? Don't go for the big hit. Don't go for the strip fumble. These are fundamentals. These are basics. This is what you learn in Pee Wee League right here. Because there have been a couple of plays. Their running back, Gibson, is that his name? Antonio Gibson. You wrap him up. You grab his ankles. You stop the play. That touchdown that fucking guy got. You wrap him up by his ankles. Everybody was up high. There was nobody at his legs. There was nobody at his legs trying to bring him down. Everybody was up high on this guy, and he was bouncing off of him, and he was still able to churn his legs. He should not. Bucs fans, if you want to be mad about something, you should have been mad about shit like that. No lie. I don't care about the coverage. Fuck the coverage. Whatever. It is what it is. You don't have all your starters there. I'm not tripping about that. But the fact that this guy can churn his legs and then the offensive line helps to push him into the end zone, they should have wrapped this guy up, got him on the ground. But you did not see that. You haven't heard anybody talking about that. But you go back and watch that game again. Go back and watch it again. If you don't believe me, go back and watch the game again. Everybody is tackling high. And that's my problem. That was my problem with the game. There shouldn't have been a 10-minute drive in the fourth quarter. Period. If you're playing fundamentally sound football, there's not a 10-minute drive in the fourth quarter, period. And that's the end all be all right there. Because there's no reason that you should be going up high on a guy that's still continually running the ball and you're bouncing off of him. That tells you that it's not working. You got to go with a different direction. And, I think I talked about this on Sunday. A friend of mine, he's coaching football and he's showing the kids rugby and how they tackle in rugby.
No
and
helmet.
And I've watched rugby games. I watch rugby games.
I think they call them matches.
Matches.
They're official.
Rugby matches. Guys are getting wrapped up and brought down. Okay? Guys are getting wrapped up and brought down. It doesn't make any sense. Johnny Dean talking about setting the edge. Yeah, I'm not happy about that either. They were not setting the edge. And that's something that you expect to see from this defensive front is being able to set the edge and being able to shut all that shit down. But it just wasn't happening.
Again, that comes to fundamentals. Like when you're learning football, I didn't even play football till high school. Everyone knows that. Not till my senior year of high school. But the first thing they teach you is your aiming point is the pee hole. I'm not trying to like that. It's literally your waistline. That's it. And
that's exactly right.
And Gene, you don't try to strip the ball in an open field tackle unless you're Levante David, who already knows how to wrap up and has excellent technique.
You have to be 100% sure you're getting that strip.
Or what you do is when you have help, when you have 2 or 3 people, when you're wrapping up, and then that second and third guy, they go for the ball. Or vice versa. If you're hopping into that pile, that's when you go for the ball. But when you're in the open field, you got to execute. And there was just too many times. I mean, we talked pre-show. Raheem Nunez-Roches comes off the most beautiful stunt the Bucs have executed this entire year. Has a 5-yard clean shot to Taylor Heineke.
Hit his ass up.
Complete whiff. Not even like Taylor Heineke made this amazing duck, which I think he did once during the game and avoided it. No, he just ran right by him. And Devin White, lucky that his forearm barely grazed Heineke's head, which, could have been a 15-yard penalty, as Gene was pointing out, because he ran right by him.
Yeah.
That's the mistakes this team are making. Yes, Devin White lucked into that sack there, but Raheem Nunez-Roches, I mean, that was unexplainable. But the Washington football team was almost 80% on third down, Gene. Over 80% if you include fourth down because they were 2 for 2 there. So it's insane. They couldn't get off the field.
But again, I hope this is a wake-up call. Again, the sky's not falling.
No.
I'm not of that ilk that the sky is falling. Because you saw the Rams go out and do what they do. On Monday, the Rams got their ass handed to them. And I'm just waiting for it to happen to Dallas because it will happen to Dallas at some point. We all know this.
Yeah, I think Dallas is pretty much going to be the locked up 4 seed. That division is just so bad. Again, we talked about this pre-show. I don't think we're going to see Washington football team again, which I think they're a team that can play physical. And I think the Bucs aren't that physical of a team. They don't play like it. Offensive line, we have great pass blockers. We are not, and Ryan Jensen's, his own little animal. But we're not the Saints. The Saints, for instance, that offensive line, you can't you saw what they did to our defensive line, healthy. That's how you control a game. Our offensive line's not there.
I don't know. So to your point there, is Tennessee that good, or was the offensive line really that suspect?
But
I'm going to say this because Trevor Siemian was holding onto the ball a lot longer than other quarterbacks that I've seen, which puts stress on your quarterback. We've seen this for what, 5 years, guys? 5 years, guys. We've seen people hold onto the ball long, and it puts stress on the whole offensive line. We've seen this. Is that what we saw? Is that what we're seeing with them?
To me, like for instance, we talk about the Tennessee Titans, and I think it's going to be Mike Vrabel's why he's lauded and why they're probably never going to win a Super Bowl, even with a Derrick Henry healthy.
Mhm.
Their identity is to just play smash mouth. It doesn't matter if Henry's in the game or not. They're playing a downhill, style of play. Like that's just their identity. Where the Bucs, for instance, I think the Bucs are best when they run power.
Right.
Donovan Smith pulling is the best Donovan Smith I've ever seen.
You know what?
They've
He's bulletproof.
they've even ran double traps, Gene, where they've either pulled Allie and Donovan, or let's say Gronk and Donovan, like
Right.
have two pullers coming up, leading up through the hole. This team is a great power team. They just run duo. There's they're going to take those 3 or 4 yard carries, which is fine. But you got to play like Washington did on third down. You got to get them because this team on third down just isn't executing in terms of, everyone's talking about, oh, the Bucs and the Chiefs, all these teams can't beat too high coverage. Well, you know why they can't beat too high coverage? Because you're running 5 routes out of the backfield or out of, the formation. 4 of them are 20 yards down the field. And then you have maybe one crosser. That's where Godwin's getting his work, setting him up and Tyler Johnson for these crossers. But you know what? Tyler Johnson didn't get any separation.
Mm-mm.
And we're Tyler Johnson stands on this. He had a bad game.
Yeah. So again, this is one of those opportunities, and I say this, I've been saying this, going back years. When you get that opportunity to be out there as a starter, you got to take advantage of your opportunity and make the most of it. And Tyler Johnson did not do that. And
another one, Mr. Everything Bucks, is OJ Howard can get traded. No, the trade deadline's over. But you know what? Started off the first play of the game, Gene. False start. Number 80 on the offense.
Yep.
You can't do this. First play of the game.
This is my thing. And when you look at who's the tight end for Atlanta?
Oh, Kyle Pitts.
Kyle Pitts. I expected to see more Kyle. I expect to see Kyle Pitts, but I expected to see more from OJ Howard than what we've seen.
Especially with Gronk out.
Yeah, and T. Smitty's been he's been on me about this since he was drafted. And I understand this. He's shown you who he is, and that's who he is. And if he goes, if right now I'm going to say this, a lot of people may not agree with this, but if OJ Howard leaves Tampa, it is what it is. You want somebody that's fundamentally sound. You want somebody that's a little bit more athletic. You want somebody that's a little bit more durable. And I just think that for where they picked OJ Howard, and people are, I hate to even that I'm even saying this, all the people that were talking about bringing in Dalvin Cook, they look so much better now. Body of work comparisons, I would have taken Dalvin Cook with his injuries over OJ Howard and what we've seen from him in his career as a Buccaneer. Would you agree with that?
Well, yeah. I mean, everything's hindsight 2020.
Hindsight's 2020. Absolutely.
Well, I think the reason why Dalvin Cook slid to the second round was mainly due to whatever the off the field, involved with, his hometown friends. Like they all were getting into trouble. He was linked to them. Like that's why he slid to the second round. And I've told you this story off podcast, but I know Bucks front staff members who wanted to trade up into the first round for him, but other teams were asking for not only our second round pick that turned into, who was it, Austin Safarian Jackwagon, or no, who was it that year? who was it that year with OJ Howard?
Okay, OJ Howard. Let's see. OJ Howard was there. God.
Was it 2016?
Johnny Dean, help me out here, my
friend.
But
the point is, they wanted basically not only the second round pick of that year, they wanted the first round pick the following year, which wound up being Vita Vea.
Right.
So in hindsight, yes, at 17, yes, or 16, whatever it was, you could have gotten, Dalvin Cook. But with Dalvin, remember this is the Dirk Cutter era, so it's like OJ Howard's not even with this team right now. Like the front office, he's not their guy. Jason Light drafted him, but like you could tell he was a Dirk Cutter guy. And Dirk Cutter used him decently well. I mean, his best games were the Ryan Fitzpatrick era. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, it is what it is, but you know what? OJ Howard's a good depth piece. I think they're going to go try to sign some Heath Miller to back up, like, clone to basically be Gronk's backup next year. We'll have Cam Brate. It'll be fine. But OJ Howard might be the only Alabama player I've ever seen T. Smitty be down on,
Yeah.
which has
Yeah.
always been interesting.
Yeah. I can't stress that enough. That just blows my mind.
I've never seen him be negative by any Alabama player but OJ Howard.
There you go. Carrie, this shirt came from the actual Bucs UK. You can't get these shirts. The story behind it is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers allowed Bucs UK to create a shirt that they had over in the United Kingdom.
Good
They
for
can't.
them. That's hard to get those kind of
Yeah.
NFL to give up those rights. That's awesome.
Right. True story. So basically, because I'm a friend of the show, I've had their people on. They've had, I've been on their shows, whatever. They were good enough to hit me up with a swag bag. And when I go over to the UK next year, I'm going over there for a wedding. I'll get to hang out with those guys, but I'm like official, unofficial member of Bucs UK. So that's how I got hooked up with the shirt. I appreciate those guys. Shout out to Bucs UK, and they put on a great show. I mean, their setup is like they're like a machine. The way they have everything set up, they're just the way they roll everything out. So let me get to the chat here. And guys, I do want to focus on the chat. I feel like I've let you guys down, but you guys are what makes the show important. So Lenny Williams, we can't get pressure on the D line. I'm with you on that. I've seen a lot of holds that haven't been called, but at the same time, you're right. The Bucs, at the end of the day, the Bucs are not getting to the quarterback like they need to, and I think that plays a huge part in it. But to me, fundamentals such as tackling, and I think tackling was the biggest reason the Bucs lost this game. And you could look at other things, but if you get 3 and outs, you give your offense, which is the strength of this team, the opportunity to get back on the field, regardless of how shitty Tom Brady's been playing. Tom Brady gives you the best opportunity to win, not the defense. And the fact that they were on the field for 10 minutes is disgusting. And again, I go back to this. The Bucs, you wrap up, you stop Antonio Gibson. You get a couple of tackles behind the line. You tackle at, you shut them down. That's what it all comes down to. And to me, I just felt like Washington wanted this game more than Tampa.
Oh, yeah, we're everyone's Super Bowl. I mean, Rick Stroud said it, like leaving the stadium, you would have thought the Washington football team won the Super Bowl. And that's how every game against the Bucs is going to be. So, I mean, they have to show up. Like, the Giants have taken us, to the wire the past 2 years. Monday night's not going to be any different. They're going to come ready.
Oh, yeah.
They might not have a good head coach. They might not have the most talented roster, or half the roster is injured. Saquon may or may not play. All of those types of things. But you know what? They're going to be ready to play.
Yeah, the Bucs need to go into this like they're playing the Rams or they're playing the Dallas Cowboys again. That's how the Bucs need to view every single game that they're going into. Like, this team, they're gonna light our asses up if we don't come in and handle business. And that's how the Bucs mindset should be going into every single game. I swear to Jesus, it felt like they just came in and thought they were gonna, it's the Washington football team. They've only got 2 wins. We're gonna roll over these guys and then we're going about our business. We've seen this Tampa Bay Buccaneers team before, back in 2016, 2017, 2018, and somewhat in 2019 where they were trying to turn the corner. So we've seen this before from these guys, and they've just got to be ready. I don't give a damn who they're playing. They have to play them like you're playing the Rams or the Cowboys or the Green Bay Packers every single game you play.
Yeah. I mean, what we've seen, the teams that the Bucs have lost to in the Brady era are either basically schemers or, just good coaches. Like, they're not losing to the Jacksonville Jaguars. Bills did. They're not losing to like the Jets.
Oh God.
Teams are doing that right now. Like
Yeah.
some really good teams, and it's not just the AFC; it's the NFC too. The Broncos came into Dallas, put up like 40-something points in 3 quarters. Yeah, Dallas scored 14. The game was already over. Teddy was already pulled.
Right. Right. Exactly.
This time of the year. And I think it comes back to, yes, last year we didn't have the off season. This year we had the off season, but you know what? It's not physical. Guys are broken, they're hurt, they're tired this time of year. Yes, we came off the bye, and I think that's more of a mental thing, that the reason why the Bucs lost the game. But you know what? Like this is the grind time. This is the
Justin
dog
Evans.
days of summer of baseball.
Justin Evans. Lenny Williams.
Oh,
Thank you.
yeah,
Justin Evans.
Justin Evans was the second round pick. So like, yeah, Justin Evans, had he not gotten hurt, was basically a good player.
He
Let's just
was.
be real. But remember, you don't get Vita Vea if you trade away that first round pick
True
to
story.
get back. So I'm okay with OJ Howard and Vita Vea than I am Dalvin Cook alone.
Here, this you're gonna laugh at this one. Austin Terry and Jack Daniels. That was awesome.
But like, this is what I mean. Like the Bucs just need to, just be physical. Like they want to play this duo offense. Run it. You want to blitz? Blitz. But like, you got to get home.
Get home.
If you're going to blitz, get there. At least every once in a while. We had 5 sacks. But Gene, how many of them were on third down that led to, a punt?
Yeah.
That's the issue, is they just couldn't get off the field. And you
That's
know what?
all
That
it
comes down to the fundamentals and the tackling, excuse me. That comes down to the coverage where it's 3rd and 8 and you give up 9 yards. Like, can't do that. Like, it comes down to, on offense when, you go 3 and out, or you're Jalen Darden, you get hit in the chest and all of a sudden you pop up the ball. Like,
Ooh, that was ugly. But
and you know what? That's going to hurt Brady's MVP numbers, but you know what? I don't care, because between Lenny and Jalen's, interceptions, like, it is what it is. But like, this is what the Bucs have been doing all year.
Right. And this is what we need to be looking at right now. We should be looking at the Super Bowl. Fuck individual stats. I don't care about whatever the individual
NFC Player of the Week. Who the fuck cares if Devin White wins NFC Defensive Player of the Week? He's not getting no bonuses for that shit.
Yeah. I mean, this was good. This was good from 2010 to 2019.
Yeah, you need something to work for or be happy about.
Yeah, exactly. As fans, you're happy. Oh, we made it to this guy made it to the Pro Bowl, or this guy got this, or this guy got this.
That's the Jalen McCoy mentality.
Yeah, exactly. Here, let me help you up. Joe McCoy mentality. But at the end of the day, it's about getting to the Super Bowl. Because when you look at the New England Patriots and think about this, they've never hosted a Super Bowl. But do they really care if they hosted a Super Bowl? Hell no, because they've got all the goddamn rings over there. They don't care. This shit doesn't mean anything to them. I just hope that they shut his ass down, because I do not want Belichick getting to the Super Bowl. Belichick, the Rams in New England, whatever happens, I don't care if the Bucs do not win nothing. I just don't want those two teams getting to the Super Bowl in any facet.
You know what's crazy though, Gene? You know how Patrick Mahomes has basically been shit on this entire year?
T. Smitty called him out. A couple of years ago.
But you know what? He's right back at the top of the MVP voting.
Yeah, him and his brother.
Oh God, don't get me started on Jackson. But yeah, no. So I mean, like, it is what it is, guys. Like, just relax. But I love what T. Smitty's saying here, and where Tyler Johnson stands. He is slow. He hasn't created separation yet, really much in his career. He's got fantastic hands. Right now, he is a number 4 receiver. What I'm hoping for is Monday night we get SMB back. We get Scotty Miller back. Scotty Miller is that, we know he's Brady's guy down the field. He's more Brady's guy than Mike Evans.
Yeah.
Like, Scotty Miller is the key to a lot of things.
Please relax. Mike Evans is going to get 1,000 yards. Unless he gets
easy. Hurt. He's like 300 yards away already.
Yeah. Unless he gets hurt,
Yeah.
Unless he gets hurt, and let's God knock on wood. NFL Jesus, I know you're looking out for me as always. You always do. But at the end of the day, Mike Evans is going to get his.
Exactly.
So stop it. You got.
And you know what? I think we're gonna have him and Godwin over 1,000. Easy.
Yeah.
Book it.
Sherman went on IR. Damn, when did he get hurt? Did he?
Yeah, so he got hurt pregame. He strained his calf, but you know what, King Cook. I've seen a lot of people hate on Sherman being in Tampa. Like, we wasted the signing. Honestly, I don't think we beat New England without Richard Sherman. Our
And
defensive backfield was that bad.
I honestly don't think that, though. I think the cornerback core will benefit from Richard Sherman, whether he's on the field or off the field. I think they benefit from him. He's shown the ability to coach up players, and we've kind of seen it. I mean, it may not look like it. I mean, the Bucs have 3 losses to 2 amazing teams and a game that they just beat themselves. Or actually 2 games they beat themselves, to be honest. Yeah. And I don't believe this team is as bad as what people are stacking them up to be. I think Tampa's just fine. I think
Let them sleep, Gene. Let them sleep on us. I think that's what this team needs, is to not feel like they have all this pressure. And that, to me, is why I think Shaq Barrett hasn't had a good stretch here. I think at the beginning of the year he was playing well, but the past 2 or 3 weeks, I mean, when you get paid $16 million a year and you don't produce, you put a lot of pressure on yourself.
I don't
And you know what? There's a lot of expectations put on you. Like, this team has a lot of pressure on them, Gene. Let the national media talk about Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs. Let them talk about the Rams, whether if they are stars or floundering, on Monday Night Football against the lowly 49ers. If we're are Saints or Rams fans freaking out? Because Bucs fans are freaking out basically the same exact thing here, if you ask me.
Okay, Ralph Johnson, I like this. Ralph, thank you for this. This may be the quote of the night here. Any team will beat you on any Sunday if you're not prepared. If you take them lightly, you cannot take anything lightly, because they lost all their games. Everybody was out there, is a professional, and can win.
They get paid a lot of money, Gene. You don't think it matters to them?
I don't know.
There's 53 times 30 of the best NFL players out there. Mm-hmm. They take this seriously. This is their livelihood, man.
This is true. And this is my thing. I keep going back to this. You see the hat I'm wearing? The Bucs are Super Bowl champions. They're defending champions. They've got this bullseye on their back, and that's what you're having to deal with.
And not only that, Gene, we talked about this pre-show. What are they doing now that they didn't do last year? They're actually playing way better than what they were last year. And we were all freaking out then. We were playing so much worse last year. Not even just at this time, just in general. Yes, we beat up a Teddy Bridgewater, Panthers team, at home or whatever, when he threw 4 interceptions, of the worst interceptions I've ever seen from Teddy. And then they played at Denver, where basically they were down to their 4th string quarterback, and they did great. But every other game that they won, it wasn't by much.
Yeah.
If the Vikings had a decent kicker, they would have won that game.
Hey,
the Falcons didn't know how to keep a lead. We would have lost that one too.
Yeah, going back to the Super Bowl. There you go. You see you see the correlation I'm going with there. Vita Vea, have we heard anything on his status lately?
So he is bone bruise, which is a positive, and a sprained MCL, which, given his size, I'd say he's out a month. But he's fine. He's going to be fine.
Yeah, we will have.
This is what we want.
The Bucs will have him for the playoffs,
which is all we need. Him and Carlton just come back, get your legs under you before the playoffs. That's all I care about.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. All right, this is why you don't draft a backup quarterback in the 2nd round. As players find the field, and Crockwell.
Can we call him Crockwell until he actually plays well?
That's the new name. Crockwell. I love that. Crockwell.
Well, did you see that Mike Edwards was playing a lot of slot, which I actually don't like? Mike Edwards isn't good in the slot.
Why do they find ways to play against somebody's strength?
You know who's a great slot cornerback that hasn't played there ever, and they said they're never going to play him there? Antoine Winfield Jr. You have the answer. Keep Whitehead back. Keep Edwards back. You're okay. If those are your two starting safeties with Antoine Winfield in the slot, like you're okay. And everyone knows I am the Mike Edwards stan. I said his draft film was better than Devin White. I
Yeah,
thought
what?
he was I thought he was the best draft pick we had that year. But you
Yeah,
know what? He is not a slot cornerback.
it's unbelievable, man. It's just I don't know. There's so much parity in the NFL right now. It's just like I'm just and I don't even know what to say sometimes because I mean, and we're gonna kind of get away from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers for a few minutes. We'll come back to them when we talk about the New York Football Giants and Danny Nickel and Dimes and what they're possibly gonna do. But when you look let's just look at the NFC South. The Carolina Panthers, they've like breathed new life in because Kim Newton is back. You know, he's back at church in Carolina now, and yeah. I tell you what, it's so funny. If you are a Panthers fan and you live in Arizona, you are liable to get beat up because of what that clown was doing on Sunday. Now, what I had to remind people, all the faithful, listen, this guy's gonna get hit about 4 or 5 times. He'll put the towel on his head, go sit at the end of the bench, as far away from everybody else, and pout until the game's over. Trust and believe. When somebody shows you who they are, believe that's who they are. Kim Newton, you can say whatever you want to about him. He came in, he was hyped up. The Arizona Cardinals were without their starting wide receiver and their starting quarterback, and Carolina took advantage like they should have. Christian McCaffrey was healthy. Just the whole nine. Everything fell into place. But I can promise you, between now and the end of the season, you will not have Christian McCaffrey. And I'm not wishing injury on anybody. I'm just calling it the way I see it. When Christian McCaffrey goes down and you have to depend on your two tomato can running backs, then it's a whole nother story. And it puts more pressure on Kim Newton to do what he's supposed to do. And I just don't see him pulling. I don't see him pulling through. What are your
Well,
thoughts, KB?
well, Christian McCaffrey, I'm looking up how many touches he had last week. But this guy hasn't played in God knows how many weeks. In a couple weeks, and all of a sudden he's got 13 rushes, 10 targets on 10 receptions, 10 receptions on 10 targets. This guy's touching the ball 25 times a game. He's gonna
Yeah,
get hurt.
yeah.
That's
It's
how the
without a
NFL
doubt.
works, man. He's not
Yeah,
Alvin Kamara's hurt, and he avoids hits.
yeah. But Alvin Kamara is not built like Christian McCaffrey. Christian
True.
McCaffrey is not. Let me rephrase that. Christian McCaffrey is not built like Alvin Kamara. Alvin can take he can absorb those hits. He's gonna go down. He knows when to go down. He knows when to go out of bounds. He knows all this stuff. I mean, it's not a big deal to him.
He's
And
like Tom Brady in the sense he knows how to protect himself.
yeah, and that's why he's maintained, health, throughout his career in the NFL so far as a running back. So I don't know. I just I don't believe in Carolina. I think this just it was just everything happened at the right time. Everybody was in the right place at the right time, I guess you would say, where you have your receiver and your quarterback out, and you bring in the clown and the backup quarterback, and everything just comes together, and Carolina wins. But you know what? At the end of the day, I'm telling you, Kyler Murray, I would love to see those two teams match up again with everybody
Oh,
healthy.
no D. I mean, yeah, they want to say like, who did they play the week before where they beat someone? I think it was the 49ers. They beat the 49ers pretty handedly with Colt McCoy at quarterback. Then Cam Newton. I mean, you can't play if Blaine Gabbert were to play, this Monday night against the Giants, I'm not picking the Bucs.
Jesus Christ.
Like you can get lucky for one game, you're not getting lucky for two with your backup, and that's just how the NFL is. So good on the Panthers. I'm sure their fans are ecstatic. Cam's back. It gives you something to cheer for. But as you're saying, Cam Newton, talk about not knowing how to protect himself. And this is a man who, in a Super Bowl, let a fumble go by.
Yeah,
Like
he didn't
Cam
care.
Newton takes them hits, man.
Mm. Yeah, and I know he's taking those hits, but all I'm saying is when you get hit like Cam Newton, I've seen Cam in games. Cam's a front runner. He reminds me of Donovan McNabb. That's who he reminds me of.
But Donovan could pass.
Yeah, because Donovan McNabb, if he's leading going into the fourth quarter, you'll see him celebrating, you'll see him dancing, you'll see him doing he does everything he can do. But if you see him losing, he's quiet. He's over on the sidelines, he's out of the spotlight or whatever. And that's just how he is. Cam Newton, I mean, you look at his fourth quarter comebacks, they're far few and in between. And that's just who he is.
If you tell me if I'm giving the choice of Taylor Heineke in the fourth quarter or Cam Newton, I'm taking Taylor Heineke.
Yeah,
Any day twice on Sunday.
I would take Taylor Heineke over Cam Newton too. And it has nothing to do with which player is which player. I just like his mentality. Taylor Heineke don't care. He just wants to go out there. He wants to win.
And then we can just gloss over your Falcons at this point because the Falcons are just they're done. They're not good. They're coaching. They don't know how to use Kyle Pitts. You draft Kyle Pitts fourth overall, and you don't know how to use him at this point.
Justin Fields looks more like the answer.
Calvin Ridley said,
"Deuces."
I'm sorry, but like not to be insensitive, Calvin. I hope you deal with all your mental health stuff. Hope it's all good.
But to be honest, real talk. When you're building a team, you've got a new general manager, you got a new head coach. Why don't you go in and just start all over from scratch? I mean,
or hell, let Justin Fields sit for 2 years. Let Matt Ryan be your quarterback for 2 years.
Yeah, if that's what you want to do, yeah. But I think the Super Bowl showed you who Matt Ryan was. Pretty much.
Well, I think the Super Bowl showed us that it wasn't him; it was Kyle Shanahan.
Yeah.
Look at everything Matt Ryan's done pre-Shanahan and post-Shanahan. Granted, there's cutters sprinkled in both ends there.
Yeah, you got to sprinkle.
But if we take that sample size of pre-Kyle Shanahan and post-Kyle Shanahan, that was the Falcons' only winning really in the Matt Ryan era.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, when you look at Matt Ryan and what he's done, he's gotten close. But I'm going to ask you this: if you're a general manager, and Matt Ryan is your quarterback, no matter what your team looks like, is Matt Ryan leading you to a Super Bowl? In your mind right now, look at his body of work.
And I like Matt Ryan.
Yeah, and
hell no.
I don't like Matt Ryan. He's an asshole, but that's just I don't like Atlanta.
I mean, as a player, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't like Atlanta, period. I don't. You can slice it up however you want to. But seriously, all joking aside, Matt Ryan, he's your quarterback. You got a good receiver and you got a good secondary receiver. Is Matt Ryan going to lead you to a Super Bowl? Is this a guy that you trust your organization to? This is your franchise. He's going to get you to a Super Bowl. Look based on his body of work. Because to me, he had Julio Jones, and he had, what's that asshole's name with the big face? He was right there before. It was Julio,
like Roddy White.
Roddy White, that jackass right there. There you
go.
I
thought he was like 5'10", so I was like big fan. I was like, who?
He's got a huge face.
Okay.
Looks like a pizza.
I thought he was tiny.
But anyway, so you got Roddy White and you got Julio Jones playing on the same field. You've got a Hall of Famer tight end, and you've got all these offensive weapons, but you can't get it done. Whether it's your defense or whatever. I don't want to say one way or the other, but doesn't your quarterback, if you have the right quarterback, doesn't your quarterback make everybody around you better? I mean, I'm just asking. In your opinion.
Well, we know he couldn't even throw to Julio in the red zone because the fact that Julio only has the amount of touchdowns he does is literally criminal.
Yeah. So what do you base is that based on play calling, or is that based on your quarterback, or what is that based on?
I think it's just a bad organization. We can just leave it at that.
Yeah. And
Bad
considering
coaches.
the president is head of the competition committee and their penalty rule, fuck you guys. Rich McKay, I used to like you little bitch. But now you and your penalties of taunting because you didn't like what Antoine Winfield did.
And you know what? The Bucs benefited from a taunting call, but you know what? I was still upset.
I was mad
on
too.
The game Sunday.
Yeah. Again, you already know I was on the hype train for Rich McKay. He should have been, I'm not going to go into that, but Rich McKay, I used to like you, man.
And then there was the Saints.
Yeah.
The Saints. I mean, we've seen Trevor Siemian ain't it. Like, he's doing better than what I thought he was going to do. Fun fact, look up Trevor Siemian, and next time any of you have Google up, Trevor Siemian, Tom Brady. It's hilarious. Like 7 years ago, they were trying to call him the next Tom Brady. It was hilarious. But
yeah.
The Saints got no.
I feel bad calling him Trevor Siemian Rice. I can't even call him that because he's not that good.
I mean, Kevin White had the most yards for the Saints in the Bucs game. Let that sink in. Let that sink in for a second. Not Traquan Smith. Not oh my god, I forgot his name. The punt returner. What's his name? I'm blanking. Deontay Harris. Harris didn't lead them in yards. Yeah. It's Kevin White, baby. Like they got nothing. Our boy Jono, who's going to be on the show in a couple weeks when we play the Saints. This man was putting out, his little highlights to like try out for the Saints wide receivers. Like we're complaining about Tyler Johnson not playing well. I mean, the Saints have all kinds of issues. It's the defense. That's it.
Bucs fans are spoiled.
Oh, we had 18 years of misery, Gene. I spent more years of my life being in misery than I've seen actually decent football.
Try doing a podcast when you've only got one win in the season.
And that was before podcasts were cool, Gene.
Yeah. I mean, I'm telling you, we did a podcast called Southbound and Down. So
God, after the Kenny Powers show, I love it.
So it's Carolina, Atlanta, and the Saints. Exactly.
Why have I never thought of that name? I love it.
I knew you would love that.
I love that.
So Southbound and Down. So every week the Bucs are losing, and I got to come up with content every week. Oh well,
grasping at straws there, Gene.
Yeah, well, McNown, he could have did this, but we didn't do this. It could be coaching. The offensive line's not good. The secondary is horrible, and the secondary is playing 15 yards, and then Atlanta hangs 50. Atlanta fucking hung 50 on the Bucs, and I had to turn around and show up for that show the next day.
Gene, I was in my dorm room my freshman year of college, Gene. I'm wearing a Bucs jersey amongst Philly fans. I am in knee-deep Pennsylvania nowhere. And everyone around me is like, watching this game. Like, they don't care. It's like was it a Sunday night or Monday night football game? It was something stupid. And first half, we're down 42-0. And I kid you not. I mean, I was a freshman on a football team. Kid you not, I got shit on my entire 4 years because of that fucking game.
Bro, I'm almost in tears. I'm on there. I'm trying to maintain my composure. I'm like,
I could never wear a Bucs jersey again on Bucknell's campus because of that game.
And so everybody's asking me, so what happened?
What didn't fucking happen?
What do you mean what happened? You guys saw the game? Like, freaking Julio Jones happened.
Mike Smith happened.
Yeah, Mike Smith happened.
Well, no, that was Lovie Smith, I think. But still,
Smith.
whatever. Smith brothers.
One of those freaking Smiths did that. But man, I tell you, that was probably in my following the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. That loss to the Atlanta Falcons was hurt more than any other game I've ever experienced.
But Gene, you know what they did a year later? They gave up like a 50-piece to Baltimore at home.
Yeah.
With Joe Flacco.
Yeah. Go figure. Yeah, and he's talking about they have all those weapons, one NFC championship. Well, you know what? I'm gonna say this.
But
New
who are we
Orleans
talking about? Are we talking about New Orleans or are we talking about Falcons?
Atlanta. He's talking about Atlanta.
That's what I thought.
I'm gonna say this. Atlanta and New Orleans is not that far behind. That freaking trick play they used. They use that trick play. I don't know. I'm just gonna say this about New Orleans. New Orleans always got something to say about Tampa and Tampa fans and all this, that, and the third. But when you're in salary cap hell year after year and you don't have nothing to show for it, number one. Number two, you got some loudmouth jackass that's got something to say all through the regular season, but he gets quiet at the end of this when at the postseason. I'm talking about you, Karen Jordan. I'm talking about you. That is just stuff like that. It just boggles my mind.
Gene, imagine having not even just a quarterback, but a Hall of Fame quarterback for 15 fucking years. You have like first ballot Hall. He's going to be a unanimous guy. Like the presenter for Drew Brees literally has to come up and say Drew Brees.
Okay,
and Drew is in, and you have one Super Bowl. I mean, the Packers too. Don't even get me started on that franchise. But the Saints, like, come on, like.
I'd be embarrassed. And I've had this conversation with Saints fans. I'm like, why aren't you upset that you've gone to 9 playoff games and you have one? Well, actually, it would be 10, right? You have about 10 from the year they won the Super Bowl up until now, up until last year. You got 10 playoff runs, 10 attempts.
The Bucs didn't play one playoff game in that entire stretch.
Sure didn't, but. You know, the Bucs are.
Yeah, but you know what? You can put that on their banner for them.
Yeah,
10 playoff 10 playoff games.
I love going and viewing their NFC South Championship banners.
Those it's cute. Beautiful.
Those are kind of sexy, if you want to call it that. But whatever. And it just I can't have a logical conversation with those guys because we beat you guys, we swept the Bucs, and that was what makes it even worse. You did all this stuff. You went out and picked up all these players. You got this guy, and then you kicked the salary cap can down the road, and you had nothing to show for it. What do they really have to show for it?
NFC Championship banners, baby.
Yeah, they got the NFC South Championship. Okay, you guys earned that. Congratulations, fuckos. You earned that. But anyway, so it is what it is.
Oh, the Trubisky game. Nestor, don't do that to me.
No, man. No, don't Nestor. Why? Why, man?
Oh.
What about the New York Giants game? Danny, how do you think Danny Dimes got his name?
His rookie year start against us.
Danny Dimes. And then Trubisky he gets like a contract extension because of what he carried that bullshit that he did for years, and then he gets a contract extension. It's like Odell Beckham Jr. makes this amazing catch in 2015, and he's still getting paid for it year in. Still getting paid. But it is what it is. Oh, Kirk Cousins. Kurt, not my cousins. This guy. You like that? How do we have all these tropes against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers? But you know what? I love our trophy case.
But doesn't it make the story sweeter? It doesn't make the win just extra salty for all those other organizations.
Right. That is so true. When you think about this, and you're bringing me back to the good times now. I mean, I think about Josh Freeman. I think about Mercer. I think about all these things that occurred. What was the kicker's name? The kicker.
Connor Barth, baby.
Yeah, Barth Vader. I mean, I could go on and on about all the things that occurred to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. All those things that happened.
Let Matt Bryant go. Let Michael Bennett walk to like 2 Super Bowl rings.
Yeah, but I blame that on the swimmer. Freaking Mark Dominic. If you guys don't know who I'm talking about Mark Dominic, the swimmer.
Oh, man. Imagine, Gene, you start off your career as a groundskeeper.
Yep.
And make your way to a GM.
Exactly. And
How
I
the
mean,
fuck does that happen?
this guy was a swimmer in college, so we should probably call him Trunks McDominic. I I think I think that name needs to stick right there, Trunks McDominic, because that's the fact that you let Michael Bennett go. You pretty much just let him go. You said, here's the door, go.
Who do we even have at the time that would have made that even make sense?
Um,
It wasn't Michael Johnson.
no, he wasn't there yet. The ghost Michael Johnson. No, not the ghost. We only talk about him during Halloween. We cannot mention him any other time but Halloween. So let's see. Defensive line. It was Michael Bennett and nobody else.
I know
Um,
McCoy was here in that era.
well,
He was young.
Yeah, we won't mention that guy either. He who will not be named. God.
But whatever.
Okay, Roy Miller.
No, he was a D tackle.
Okay, he was a D tackle. Okay. Wait a minute. Okay, let me think about this here. So it was Michael Bennett was on one side, and it was quiet on the other side. Okay, you got it. You got to Google this, man. I know you don't want to.
Bucs. Is 2013 like a good year?
Let's look at. It would have had to have been. No, because it would have been 2013. That's right. Because Shiana was
Daquan Bowers.
Dequan.
Will Colston on that roster. That made me
You know who's
laugh.
still on the roster?
Steven Means was on this roster. Adrian Claiborne, that's who we're missing.
Adrian Claiborne. There we go. That we passed up Karen Jordan for Adrian Claiborne.
Oh man.
Jesus Christ, man.
I don't know. I'm happy that honestly not Adrian Claiborne, what's his face? Saints. What's his name? No, Saints.
Cam
Jordan. Cameron Jordan, like he can chill over there with no Super Bowl rings. I don't care. I don't want him to be on our team.
Yeah.
Fuck him.
Yeah. But you know what? You honestly have to believe if he was on this team, we'd be cheering for him.
I mean, he'd basically be like Sapp, but like not as good or.
Yeah, he'll be Sapp with no talent. Not talent, but not the talent that's but he's an edge rusher though.
Yeah.
And unless he goes up against Tristan Wirfs. Tristan Wirfs is going to shut him down.
Again, yeah, he got his strip sack last time because basically Brady held the ball for 7 seconds, and of course, Saints fans probably
Brady was helping the stats. About that. Brady padded his stats. Damn you, Brady! Don't be helping Karen. But anyway, it is what it is. So let's get back to we only got a few minutes here, so let's get back to the game coming up on Monday Night Football. Dun 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 dun. Dun 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 dun. You know, and so we have to talk about this game. This game concerns me. You know what? I probably should have paid more attention to watch the Washington game, but this New York Football Giants game concerns me. They have nothing to lose. They're putting it all out there on the field, and I just don't know what Tampa's going to retaliate with. They cannot have a game like they had before. The defense has to get 3 and outs. There are so many things that have to happen. They have to get the offense off the fucking field. It has to happen.
Yeah, I don't like this matchup. They got this guy. I'm not sure if you ever heard of him, Gene. His name's James Bradbury. This guy named Mike Evans. I think this guy, James Bradbury, covers him better than this guy named Marshawn Lattimore, personally.
Lattimore. The guy that held and fell.
The guy who got beat by a guy who had no position in the NFL, and Cordell or Patterson for a game-winning touchdown.
Yeah, Kamara lit him up.
Yeah, so but I'm concerned about James Bradbury. Him against Mike Evans is a problem. I think Logan Ryan at the back end of their defense has allowed them to be very versatile. He's found a second calling. Is kind of like a Rondé Barber. He was like a slot guy his whole career. And then all of a sudden he pops back to safety for the past 2 years and has done pretty darn well there. Their defensive line, you can't really run against them. They're kind of like us. I mean, Leonard Williams is basically a defensive end for them.
Yeah.
Like he's an edge guy. Like that doesn't bode too well
He looks
for
like a
running ball.
defensive tackle but he's a defensive end. But
Yeah, they got Danny Shelton, Dexter Lawrence. Like they got some big beef in there.
Yeah.
So you're not going to run the ball. It's got to be, again, this is going to be a Godwin game. I feel like, Evans, he could probably pop off for a catch here and there. I just don't think he's going to get 5 or 10 targets. Like it just is what it is. James Bradbury's a damn good corner.
I would love to see him put Evans in the slot.
Oof, that would be nice because I think they're gonna shadow. I think he's gonna follow.
My thing is, I think if he can get, if you can get him in the right spot, I think that sometimes Evans cuts off his routes. And I don't want to get in trouble for saying
Well,
that.
I think Evans and Brady have the worst. I'm not gonna say connection. Yeah, chemistry. I think that's the perfect word because I think there's been too many times in the past 2 years where Brady either like the one on Sunday I think was a little bit more on Brady against the football team. But they're just not like there's so many times where I think Brady has thrown too many high balls to Evans than he has to like any receiver that have led to interceptions.
Well, and I think you don't see it so much with Godwin anymore, like you did with Winston, but with Mike Evans will he'll round out a route instead of making it a sharp. Whatever route he's running, it won't be sharp. It won't be clean.
It's hard to do at 6'5" though. Let's give Mike.
I totally get it.
Yeah.
But again, I love Mike Evans. You already know. I mean,
best offensive player in Bucs history.
Yeah, he's that guy, and I love the guy. But I'm just saying, as we're talking football here, could you imagine if he ran routes like Antonio Brown?
Well, I mean, I don't think Calvin Johnson could run routes the way Antonio Brown does.
Yeah, but AB's elevated everybody's game. Not taking anything away.
I honestly think he has.
I'm serious. I
remember I was on this podcast. You were cool with the signing. I said no, keep this man away. I mean, I think he's helped more than he's hurt.
Because I'm the voice of reason here. I mean, yeah. And this as much as you guys don't want to believe this, I actually was, because I was still pissed that Jameis Winston threw a pick 6 to the fucking Atlanta Falcons, and
the season, baby.
And KB was like, "What's wrong with you? You're not happy that Tom Brady's coming?" I'm like, I was still fucking mad that
this is true. Gene, our very first podcast was you going on a rant on Winston throwing that pick 6 for no joke, like half an hour. My first ever because we went like 2 hours that first one.
I was furious. I'm still kind of mad about it. I'm not gonna lie. I'm very mad about it. But that was a walk-off pick 6, and it just went the other way. But and then Tom Brady came, and you were excited. You were excited about the Tom Brady thing. I'm like, yeah.
Well, because before we met, Gene, I wrote the articles that he was like coming here. Yeah. And no, like I got shat on, Gene. I got shat on. So I was on a high when we first met.
So it was so funny because I was like, I'm indifferent. I don't care. I'm a kid.
Just because of that freaking throw against the Falcons.
He ruined my whole offense.
You hate the Falcons as much as probably any Saints NFC South fan could possibly hate it.
Bro, people don't get it. People do not understand. I hear people talking about, oh, I hate the Saints. Fuck the Saints. I don't have no problem with the Saints. I know I could go to New Orleans and get some gumbo and hang with some fools or whatever. And, it is what it is. But Atlanta is something about their fan base. And when you're a season ticket holder and Atlanta comes in and Roddy White comes and shreds your team up and they're running their mouth, and it was a bad situation. So to me, it was like, I hate you guys. New Orleans was okay. Aaron Brooks come in, throw a few interceptions. We'd trade wins with the New Orleans Saints or whatever. And I was good with that. I was fine. Their fans would come in and talk trash with me, and I talk trash with them. We go back to my house and barbecue or whatever. And we were just cool like that. But Atlanta, I don't know what it is about Atlanta. I don't even like going to Atlanta. I would rather fly over Atlanta if I could.
If it wasn't the central hub for like all flights.
Like when I used to go to Dominican Republic and I'd have to go to Atlanta in order to fly international, it used to just hurt my feelings, man. I had to even go there. But again, I'm sort of getting over it. I think that Super Bowl win for the New England Patriots really kind of helped ease all the pain for me. And
28-3, baby.
it will live forever. And then now we have the guy that's instrumental in making that happen right here in our own backyard, and you can't help but love that. So,
Gene, I got a pop quiz for you.
Okay, let's make it happen.
How many 3-game losses has Tom Brady had in his career? 3-game loss streak. 3 in a row.
3-game losing streak. 2.
1. Now, pop quiz part 2. What year did that occur?
That was 23 games. It was either right before he came here or 2012.
2002, Gene. His rookie year, or his first year playing.
Really?
When he came in for Drew Bledsoe.
I swear it would have been 2012.
So okay, if you're not confident in Tom Brady losing a third in a row, I think this is the game that we can hopefully change that, because if Tom Brady loses 3 in a row, we're gonna have a fired up fella. Yeah. I don't think he's gonna let this team lose.
No, he's not.
This Monday.
And I'm gonna tell you this, Gio Bernard. Remember that name? Remember? Look into mine right here. Gio Bernard on Monday. Gio Bernard. Remember that name. You heard it right here.
Speaking of running back, I know I've seen his name a few times. He only had 1 snap on Sunday, Gene.
Oh,
Ronald Jones. How do you feel?
Hey, he's going to get his touches. Trust and believe. He will get his touches. Oh, we got a caller.
Who?
I'm going to take this caller. Even
Are they calling about the check on our car insurance?
I'm hoping. Hopefully, they're not checking on our car insurance here, or I'm hoping it's not Social Security telling me that I've got some kind of activity on my account or something. Okay, who are we talking with?
Johnny Dean.
What's going on, Johnny Dean? Oh, we got Johnny Dean, the professor himself.
What's up, guys?
What's happening?
I heard KB just now talking about bringing those old stats up. Like, you know how many 3 losses in a row? You know what that does to me? That makes me cringe whenever somebody does that. Every time an announcer does that on a game, what happens? Boom.
Kickers get it the worst, Johnny.
Yeah, well, at least he's not talking about my guy Ryan Suckup. As long as it's not about Ryan.
As long as Ryan Suckup is not playing the Lions, we're okay.
Yeah.
Oh, he might be going back to the Lions. Okay, that's all, man. I just was cringing, and that just drove me nuts, man. I was like, "Oh, please don't do that to me, man!" I almost threw a hat at my TV again.
No, we're good, man. Don't worry. I think we're good as long as we're not calling scores. As long as we're not calling scores here, we're good.
I do have a question, Gene, about your. I get it. I hate all of them, including the Panthers, but. What's going on with this Falcons thing, man? Because
it runs deep, baby. I've heard Gene on the Falcons. I've spent days on my life listening to Gene.
I'm going to say this. I know some really cool Falcons fans, but this goes back to being a season ticket holder and going to Atlanta for games, and Atlanta coming to Tampa for games, and these delusional motherfuckers always have something to say about. Oh, well, we're better than your team. And then after they won the Super Bowl, they were still saying that it was a fluke, and they came up with all the other stories. And it was okay. They could beat Tampa, but they didn't have anything to show for it. And now they're very resemblant of the New Orleans Saints. The New Orleans Saints, who are in salary cap hell year after year with nothing to show for it. Same thing.
My point, though, with it is I've been to both those places, man. Well, not the new stadium in Atlanta. I haven't been there yet. But,
fuck that place.
But I've been to both places, and it's always the Saints. And there's hardly any Bucs fans in the Saints stadiums when I was going. And the Falcons fans, they got that invasion takeover and all that crap.
Yeah.
So there's at least a lot more Bucs fans around the Falcons place.
But I'm going to say
thing
this.
is we're closer in our rivalry as far as a win. Man, it'll take us 10 years to catch up with the Saints and beat that rivalry. For some reason, they just have owned us.
I'm gonna say this because the Saints have replaced the Chicago Bears as the team that is the kryptonite for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, which I'm good with that. But every single time I've gone to New Orleans, they've always treated me hospitable. I mean, we talk trash during the game, we laugh, we joke, whatever, and nobody's been obnoxious ass to me. We just, okay, the game's over. And I've been invited over people's houses. I've gone out to restaurants. I mean, they've just been hospitable. And once the game's over, hey, the game's over. I mean, I've got more friends that are Saints fans. And, again, I hate their choice in teams. I think they're stupid. But, it is what it is. But just Atlanta and that level of delusion and we're better than you and we did this and we did this. But you look at their trophy case and, it's empty. And you look at that Super Bowl T-shirt is blank. I mean, it's just stuff like that. It just they just rubbed me the wrong way. When Tampa first came into the NFC South division, that was just like that was a rivalry that set it off for me, was Atlanta. And it just always stuck that way. Whereas a lot of people didn't have that rivalry. And it was kind of all over the place because Tampa was not consistently winning year after year. But for me, it was always Atlanta. And it's just what it is. But I'm going to say this. Like I said, there's somebody that was in the chat that was cool as hell. There was an Atlanta Falcons, Zagnif Productions. Cool as hell. I mean, and again, I don't want to jumble everybody into the same thing, but it's just I've had more bad experiences with Atlanta than I have with any other team in the NFC South, and that's just kind of what it's been.
See, for me, Saints, Archie Manning got under my skin, dude.
Ooh,
when we beat them,
that smug ass bastard.
Yeah, he just got under my skin really bad, and on top of the Johnny Carson crap, man.
I used to like to see him get lit up when he tried to run the ball.
Yeah.
And whatever it was, that dummy would never keep his helmet on. He wouldn't keep his chin strap on, and he'd get hit, and his helmet would fly. I hated Archie Manning.
Oh, I still do. I can't even watch him on that commercial, man.
Oh, TC Baby One. He's got to follow me on Twitter. He knows I hate Joe Buck. I do hate Joe Buck. Joe Buck is the worst. Joe Buck.
Let me tell KB, this is the real reason that Gene likes the Saints over Falcons, and that's the beignets, man.
I love how you said he likes them. I just had to soak that one in for a second.
The crab cakes and the beignets and the
crawfish.
Oh man, they do got that going on, man. That's a fact.
And that filet gumbo, yeah. They, you know what? But again, when it's
all right. So what's that reason, Johnny?
That was it. The beignets, man. They don't have anything. They don't have anything in Atlanta for you.
No.
What are you going to eat in Atlanta? You can get the same thing in Tampa.
That's right.
That's true. Both places are like
I go to capital. Get my peaches and pecans. I'll stay in Tampa.
Hell yeah.
I would say Atlanta and Tampa are like the only two places. Like I feel like everywhere you look, there's a McDonald's, there's a Burger King, there's an Applebee's, there's a Chili's. It's just everywhere.
You gotta hang with me in Tampa.
Black and Cooper.
There's places to go, but I'm saying it's just everywhere. That's one thing I like about living in North Carolina is just there's so many mom and pop places.
What was a place on Bayshore? There was a seafood restaurant on Bayshore.
How recently was that?
This was like years ago. This was going towards Inner Bay.
I didn't hang out there that much. I used to, whenever I eat out like that, go after something I really liked, and that would be the old Blue Crab Shack out there off Gandy. Know
Oh
what I'm talking
yes, yes. I know what you're talking
I
about.
love that
It's on the other side going towards St. Pete.
Yeah.
Yes, I know the spot you're talking about, man. They got those crab cakes there are amazing. I don't even
Yeah,
know
it
if that
was
place is still there.
It was when I was still when me and Keith were rooming there in St. Petersburg. It was still there. So
Okay, there we go. Well, hey man, thank you so much. I gotta actually get you on here one time just so we can talk football. You're a wealth of knowledge, and I always appreciate you.
appreciate it, man.
All right, man.
I'll let you guys go now. Later.
All right. Well, again, man, you never know what's gonna happen on the show. But
I love how he had the number all dialed up, ready to go. What kind of show has people call in before we even ask them to call in?
Exactly. And you know what? I don't mind. If somebody were calling, I'm like, oh, okay. If somebody
Save
call,
that number. It's 529. I don't know. Some.
exactly.
That's why we have smartphones, because they can remember that shit.
Yeah, they're smarter than me. Well, guys, I'm out of here. We are out of here. This was a fun Wednesday. I had a great time. Drank a few beers, talked some football, got a whole lot off my chest. And for me, again, KB, keys to the game. We're gonna go a different direction here. Keys for the Bucs winning on Monday.
Getting off the field on third down.
Yes.
Keeping Daniel Jones in the pocket.
Yes.
And running more than one short to intermediate route per route run.
Yeah.
Because, to me, like I mentioned earlier, you just run basically 4 9 routes, then you just got like one crosser. And that's basically our targets. That's all it was, or Lenny coming out of the backfield.
All right. I'm going to say this. For me, wrap up, tackle.
Oof.
Get him on the ground. All you got to do is get him on the ground.
I knew you were going to say that one.
It's him, but again, it's like a moral imperative. Get him on the ground and let's get him off the field. Get 3 and outs. I
think if Saquon plays, Gene, I think it actually helps us.
No, I think Saquon has nightmares from the first time we put him out of the game.
That's what I'm saying. I think if Saquon plays, it helps us.
Yeah, I still don't think he's right from the first time we put him out way back when.
Amen.
But there is that.
So wrap up. What else? Put him to the ground.
So wrap up. Put him on the ground, and no drops. These drops are crazy. You're a wide receiver in the NFL. Catch the ball. You got one job. I understand there have been some balls that were high, but at the end of the day, there were some balls that were right on people's numbers.
We're not talking about circus catches here. We're talking Jalen Darden.
Yeah, we're not talking Odell Beckham 2015. We're talking Tampa Bay Buccaneers 2021. That's what you got to do, baby.
Shots fired.
And I think this is going to start the winning streak. You got to start the winning streak somewhere. Might as well be on Monday Night Football against the New York Football Giants. You might as well start that winning streak now and get that winning streak going. And let's go. Or as Tom Brady would say, let's fucking go. I'm going to go ahead and say that. Yeah, that's right, man. You feel it. Let's fucking go. All right. Well, anyway, we're out of here. We're having fun. Oh, what is it? The whole Woosah thing there. Yeah. That's all right. Yeah. So now I'm kind of toning everything down.
Don't worry, Gene. That's taunting.
Oh, yeah, I guess it would be. I got called for targeting because I did knock out a few beers on Sunday. But you know what? It's just what it is, man. I expect to get a letter from the commissioner here at some point. And, it is what it is. So anyway, we're out of here. This has been a fun show as always, KB, man, my guy. Look for us next week.
Yeah, keep talking, Gene.
I don't know who we're going to have on next week. We are going to have somebody on, I'm sure. We're going to have somebody interesting on. I think interesting. I'm leaning towards interest. I'm leaning very heavily towards very interesting. Somebody that you guys may know. I'm pretty sure that if you are in the Bay Area, you will probably know this person, but I'm working on it. It may not happen, but if it does happen, you're welcome. Anyway,
if you're going to the game, section 133, 30-yard line. 30-yard line on the Giants side. So if you are at the game, come say hi.
That's right. He will be wearing a Smack Apparel t-shirt. won't you?
Underneath my Bucs jersey, yes, of course.
Underneath the Bucs jersey. Shout out to Smack Apparel, my people.
Robbie,
Robbie, love you, man. Keith, Bucs Report, Johnny Dean, and everybody else that I've just like totally missed. You know, you're always welcome on the show. But anyway, that's it for us. The most unprofessional show on Bucs Report. Buc What You Heard. And we are out of here. Pieces.